Absolutely massive gains we're seeing in the altcoin market. Look here on CoinMarketCap. In the last 7 days, OKB up 118%, Aerodrome up 79%, Lido 60%, Pendle 42%, Chainlink 41%. And there's just a number of amazing altcoins out there absolutely ripping. You can see this on the total 3 as well, with this incredible inverted head and shoulders. After the breakout of this key trend line, we now have a shoulder, head, another shoulder, and we've broken out. We've got some great targets to the upside. A lot of price action is looking like we're seeing the bulls overwhelmingly in charge. We're going to show you what targets to watch, what signals to make sure you're pulling the right triggers. We're going to keep you on the right side of the trend. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding the bell. We're about to dive into this. Let's go.
Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. SEC in it.
The market is moving and it feels great. Remember this chart that I was sharing with you a couple months ago, the breakdown of all the key things that happened in this cycle thus far and the targets we were looking out for to the upside. It felt when this was just kept hitting its head against this ceiling like we were not going to maybe even hit this likely target, but I'm almost apt to come up here and change the hype target to be what is more like the likely target, because we're seeing an onslaught of bullish news come in day after day. So let's get into this. I want to also welcome each and every one of you to the stream. I also want to say shout out to our channel partners, Bitcoin IRA and Arculus. My name's Kellam. If this is your first time, I can guarantee you it's not going to be your last time. We're going to keep you on the right side of the trend with tools, with strategies, with signals, how you can break down this market so you can win in this market here at BitLab Academy. So again, shout out to Bitcoin IRA. You can find more information on them at bitcoinira.com. And you can also give them a call right here at 1-877-936-7175. You can day trade all these different cryptos, up to 80 different cryptos they have currently on their site. Day trade your altcoins. You can stack these into Bitcoin and make sure that you're basically eliminating or limiting a huge amount of your tax liability by doing it in your IRA. So make sure you're trading smart out there. Again, you can call them at 1-877-936-7175. Let them know Kellam sent you from the Discover Crypto family from BitLab Academy. And also make sure you head over to getarculus.com, spelled just like that, ARCULUS, getarculus.com, the best crypto cold storage solution out there. Protect your crypto, protect your future, and use code BitLab, BITLAB 20. BitLab 20 for 20% off your best crypto cold storage solution there is. Now, we got to dive into this because we're seeing the markets move to the upside. Are there any warning signals? Are there only bullish signals to the upside? Are there any things that we need to be worried about? Well, let's look at this because we're seeing massive gains, as I just highlighted at the beginning of the stream. OKX's coin, OKB, is up. It was up 118. It's having a little bit of a pullback right now in the last hour, but massive gains. Aerodrome, massive gains. Lido, massive gains. Pendle, massive gains. Chainlink, massive, just massive gains. I mean, if you're holding coins right now that have not been performing at all, you might want to look into the diligence. It doesn't mean that they won't, but the market is getting a huge bullish bid right now. So you want to make sure that you're following and investing into certain narratives that are in the right place, especially with corporate interest, as well as how they're going to be impacted by all the Genius Act, this Clarity Act, the new market structure bill, which Trump looks like he's going to sign. And I'm going to highlight why that's important here in just a little bit. But we're seeing some major things being developed here in the market. We also have to look at this capital rotation. Everybody threw out the window from Bitcoin to Ethereum, and then Ethereum to Ethereum and top caps. Top caps meaning these market caps that we see here. If we organize these market cap, you can see top caps are these coins that are really in the top 10. I would actually also argue into about the top 15 or so. And then you get into the mid caps, you know, basically everything under 15 billion. And then you get into the smaller caps, which is everything down. I mean, I really would argue everything, I would say beyond number 50 here. So anything in the 2 billion and below, you start to get into the small caps. Then you get the micro caps, which are coins that are down there sub 1 billion. And then you get the super micro caps down in the, you know, 10 million to 30 million, 100 million, which is just a pipe's dream. Maybe you're going to hit the lottery if you hit them, but you got to understand this because there's a huge number of altcoins that are competing now. Look at this, 19.44 million coins. Back in 2017, we were worried that there's going to be too much capital dispersion when there was 200 coins, 300 coins. Then it got to 1,000. Then it got to 5. It is 19 million. Now, of course, if we cut out all of those meme coins that were launched in the last year and a half from all the token deployers like on Pump Fun and what we're seeing Bonk, and there's a number of different token deployers out there, that made this number go exponential, this number that we're seeing right here. But how many are there where there's, you know, realistic coins we should be watching? I think if you come over to CoinGecko, let's go to CoinGecko. Did I spell that right? Yeah, CoinGecko. It shows 18,000. So this shows 18,000 coins as we see right here, 18,092. Okay, this is cutting out all those, that enormous number of memes that were launched in the last year and a half. So there's a lot going on right now. There's a lot of capital dispersion already with 18,000 tokens. So you want to make sure within that, it doesn't mean if you have a coin that's at a 30 million market cap currently that it's not going to do well. It's just you're literally picking the very tip end of a staple cut off out of you know, a pile of needles. You know what I mean? There's no way to really, like, you've got to do your due diligence. Look into the team. Figure out who's talking about it. How much community, what type of players in the community are talking about those coins? What problem are they actually solving? Because every one of these coins claims to be the best at what they do, but there can only be a handful in each narrative that really dominate. That's why I've been so focused on some of these coins that I've been focused as of late, like AERO, like Chainlink, like talking about Solana and Avalanche and Ondo, Ethereum, when we're talking about Injective and Near Protocol. You know, there's a lot of the coins that are in this top 100, and some of them that were, I mean, AERO was in like number 300 only a couple months ago, and now it's, you know, sitting, where is AERO now? Let's actually look at AERO. Let's see, AERO is currently number 108. So it's been making some huge strides. So this is still a small cap coin. Okay, it's on the upper side of the small cap, kind of mid cap, but $1.1 billion. We were talking about this at $175 million market cap. But the difference with AERO was Coinbase bought $100 million worth of Coinbase at market, not over the counter, not like some you know, silent investor. No, they bought it on the open market, which put up a massive green flare that they were going to be actively involved with this. And they've only become more and more involved with how they're integrating the base ecosystem, which AERO is the DEX for the base ecosystem, integrating that base ecosystem into the main Coinbase hub. So that is why this has performed so well. And I expect it to continue performing. Because remember, AERO went up to over $2.30 last year and had a big sell-off, and then it pumped back up. The whole market was just been chopping around. That was all before Ethereum started taking its swings higher. But we have some things we're going to be going through today. I see you. We got Pre-Rich in here, Fibonacci's, Green Day Profits, the Kid Come. How you doing? We got 7 with 3 7s in it. Granny's Garden, Mikhail Memdovich, how you doing? We got the homies in the chat. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're seeing green in your portfolios. We've been trudging along. We've been hustling. A lot of you are here nearly every day. I appreciate you. If you're watching right now, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on X, if you're watching on Rumble, wherever you're at, I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope I can set you straight on what we're looking out for today and going into the rest of this week, because we got some incredible things that are lining up right now. So hit the like button below this video right now. Make sure you're following wherever you're watching. whether it's on YouTube, on X, on Rumble. Make sure you're following along, subscribe. I did do a member stream yesterday in the Discord, but I also actually live streamed it to an unlisted link here on YouTube. For all of you members. If you didn't see it, it's because your notifications aren't on. Turn on your notifications. That's this little bell right here. See that little arrow? Click that. Boom, right here, and turn on the notifications. Boom, right there. But here in posts, it might say comments, but something right there. I posted this link right here, member stream. This was yesterday, and I did an hour total request from the community, different coins you guys want to look at. I broke down not just super fast TA, but why I was looking at things certain ways. So right now, if you're not a member yet, join as a member in the Discord, which is pinned in the top of the live chat here on YouTube. But also, it's also in the description down below. But you can also just become a member here on the YouTube. On the YouTube channel right here. It's $1.25 a week, and you'll get access. I'll be sharing my member streams I'm doing in Discord. I'll be sharing here on YouTube as well. So you won't get access to all the other stuff that's in the Discord, but you'll get my member streams and other posts and stuff like that. So join, become a member right now. Shout out to all of you that are in here that are members. I see you. I appreciate you. You got the beakers next to your name. Almost all of you are blue, which means you've been here for forever. But let's dive in because we got some massive alpha that we want to drop right now. So let's go. Boom. Here we go. What do we see? We see the fear and greed is still very, very undercooked, meaning it's nowhere near that super high, fervor with just everybody just greed in the market. There's a long way to go in this market. The altcoin season. I titled this video, Altcoin Season. Why is that? Well, one, this isn't super high number yet, which is good, but because when we're looking over here and we go to cryptocurrencies on CoinMarketCap, you have this drop-down menu, come over here to Altcoin Season Index, and you can see, yes, we're at about 3940, but look at all of these coins. This is where Bitcoin is in the last 90 days, I believe. Yes, 90 days. In the last 90 days, Bitcoin is up 17%. All of these coins above it have outperformed Bitcoin. Now, every coin that you see below this, and this is just the top 100, just the top 100. We see all of these coins below it have not outperformed Bitcoin. In fact, some of them are down in the last 90 days. So we've got still a huge amount of room to go for altcoins to absolutely blast off. And that's partially because of this signal right here. When you're looking at the total market cap, subtracting Bitcoin, subtracting Ethereum, we see some key points here. What are the key points? Well, we had this descending level of resistance that's come across that was projected out, kind of chopped around it here. But in this chop, if we ignore the lines and just look at the candle patterns, we formed an inverted head and shoulders, meaning, look, the bears tried to take it down, bulls brought it right back up. The bears really tried to take it down. The bulls brought it all the way back up to the same point, to the same trend line here. The bears tried again and they're weaker. So the bears tried, they got stronger, they got weaker. So what you're seeing here is a shift of narrative of the strength of bears to bulls. That's what you're always looking for in any sort of market reversal on any asset or on any index. In this case, see the bulls had the strength here. The bulls had the strength here. Now look what the bulls got weaker. Now the bears take over. The bears got stronger. Bulls brought it back. The bears got a lot stronger. The bulls brought it all the way back. So you see the size of the bulls here and the size of the bulls here. The strength is increasing. And so because the bears here had an attempt and the bulls were getting stronger here, now the bears got weaker comparatively to this cycle here. And then the bulls took back over and broke out of this line. So what this is telling us is there's been a swing of the bears trying to make an attempt, but the bulls staying in charge. Why are they staying in charge? Because they were in charge here. The bears tried, they failed. So this is what we're looking at right now. And this is all while Ethereum is starting to make some major legs to the upside. I don't know why I'm coughing. Get it out of me, baby. All right, here we go. We're looking at Ethereum. What do we see on Ethereum? The charts that we've been breaking down have been going to the targets we've been talking about like clockwork. On the way up, we had this green box drawn before it happened. The price action came into it and chopped almost all the way through the arbitrary section that I drew. And it, broke down, Wyckoff accumulation, boom, springboard here, boom, launches into a bull flag. Cool, continues into kind of a bull flag with the fake out here. What am I talking about? Here's the the structure I'm talking about. So you have the flagpole, the sideways accumulation, fake out, down, launch. But then we got another bull flag right here. And now we're kind of slowing down as it's pushing right into what? Why would it be slowing down at these levels? Shout out. GD says, I think Multiverse X E-Gold is going to be big. It's layer one and it's very undervalued. Supernova is coming. Well, shout out to you for putting it back on our radar. We'll try and take a look at that after we get through some of these charts. Thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate you. Shout out to let's see, we got 981 people tuned in. Big love to each and every one of you. But we're seeing the bull flag here on ETH to US dollars. This is what's really opening up the confidence in the rest of the altcoin market. Bitcoin's been consolidating around 123 down to 116, back to 118, kind of down to 117, now 120, back to 119. You know, we're doing very well in this market with the altcoins because Ethereum is holding, it's starting to make gains as Bitcoin isn't moving. With Bitcoin's small dips, Ethereum's held strong and in fact has pushed to the upside. We know this because we look at the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart. I know we've been talking about this. You might have seen this in some of the other streams in the last few days or weeks, but there's always different people here. And sometimes you might hear it a different way. You need to understand these things and how they relate to each other, the different assets, how they signal different shifts in trends and narrative and confidence in bullish structure or confidence in bearish structure. Ethereum to Bitcoin chart breaking out as it has from the lows down here. Look at this, 1759 all the way up here to, I mean, this is a pretty big move. This is a move against Bitcoin, meaning that, look at that, that is a 122% larger gain or larger value added than you would if you, for those that were holding Bitcoin. Do not take that statement as me saying you shouldn't hold Bitcoin. In fact, I think you need to be majority in Bitcoin. I have to talk about the entire crypto market because all of you are coming in at different stages in your development and your investing and trading and crypto experience. You see this and go, well, why don't you just only go into small caps? Because you can get 1000x gains against Bitcoin. Because there's no exact method to win at every altcoin pick and every altcoin trade. There's failures, there's different regulations that come out, there's different competitors that completely swallow up different parts of the industry, and you're like, but I thought this one was going to be good, and you lose everything. Bitcoin is the staple, and I'm going to show you why, and then we're going to get back into these altcoins because this signal right here is signaling the altcoin market. This is why it's waking up, because this reversal on the ETH to Bitcoin pairing. Now, when we dive into some of these things, realize Bitcoin is the imperative right now. Why is it the imperative? Roughly 25%, $1 in $4 that has been spent by the government, by the treasury, has been towards interest on debt. 25%. We're now being taxed essentially by our past bad actions and the way we are operating our government right now and our monetary policy and what we're doing and how we're spending and breaking our budget every few months. New debt ceiling, new money printing, new bills, adding trillions more to the US debt and deficit. That is all kicking that tax down the road. That exorbitant cost that's only ballooning for future generations. This is what we're dealing with right now. $1 in $4 is being spent currently on interest on debt. There's no stopping this train, as Lynn Alden says. If you're not following her, make sure you do. She's got great content about the economy and also about Bitcoin. Make sure you are following her. The best bet right now, because there's no stopping this train, the same is true for Bitcoin. There's no stopping the Bitcoin train. The difference here is it's going in the opposite direction of this absolutely asinine debt crisis we have in the US. You need to stack into something that is basically an inverse relationship to these bad monetary policies. Bitcoin is the catch-all to all the dumb nonsense US governments do and the world governments as well. This is a government agnostic coin that, guys, I mean, I don't want to talk about Bitcoin anymore because you get it. In fact, I'm going to talk about Bitcoin every day. It's just, I don't know how I can get this through y'all's heads, but we're also going to degen, right? So let's talk about the degenning because the altcoins are set up. This is that move. Remember, we looked at the 4 hour. This was a 4 hour setup that we're looking at here on the 4 hour, this inverted head and shoulders. But when you zoom this out, when you zoom this out and look at the altcoin market cap zoomed out all the way back to 2018, you see these large impulses to the upside, swing low, double bottom, large impulse to the upside, swing low. And then we've kind of slowly been working our way up here. And I do really wholeheartedly believe that we're going into an extended cycle. The 4-year cycle is not going to hold true anymore. However, many of you are going to say, Kelly, you're wrong. When we get a pullback in November and December, you see it crash just like it always does, but then we are going to rip in 2026. You can mark my words on that. Now, this is not financial advice. This is just the way I'm looking at the market and all the bullish impetus that's coming in. The setup for higher is just getting underway towards the middle end of this perceptive bull, 4-year bull trend with all of the legislation that just came in and so on. But this is signaling to me, this setup, this giant cup and handle is signaling much higher. And that target, when you measure this out, let's go out to the 3-day, that target comes all the way up here into the $4.5, almost $5 trillion range. Now, what are these other levels? Well, there's a couple other ways. There's different ways you can measure this. And all these ways are going to likely hit targets and probably sort of stopping points along the way. One is you can measure this cup and handle like this from this neckline. And this would be this target right here. Boom. Measured from the breakout point. That would be 1.9 trillion. And then you also have the smaller target, which is this smaller inverted head and shoulders that we just talked about, which the target on that is, much lower, 1.16. But that would just be the very, very, very near term target. This is what we're looking at somewhere. If I had to guess, somewhere between low side 3 trillion, but I really think somewhere in the $4 to $7 trillion for altcoins. This is not including Bitcoin. This is not including Ethereum. So this is kind of the target I'm looking at for what we're going to see the growth in this altcoin market space. Somewhere here between the $3 to $5 trillion range seems very reasonable to me, especially with the advent of the Genius Act, the Clarity Act, and the market structure bills, which are opening up the regulatory clarity for institutions, big players, high net worth individuals, and just basically the integration race that we cannot even comprehend how much capital is going to flow from those new integrations and the way this is deployed and utilized. So extended cycle for all cryptos or just Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is going to be extended, and I think Ethereum is. I think the market in general, but I think you need to realize with that, will we have an extended cycle for just Bitcoin or altcoins as well? Well, the question here is, what are the narratives? You need to focus on the narratives in the different sectors of the altcoin space. Bitcoin, I think from here on out is essentially going to be stair-stepping up, building that stairway to heaven up and to the right. There's going to be some periods where we have 25, 35, maybe even 40, 42, 45% pullbacks. But I think the days of 60 to 80% pullbacks in a bear market are basically over for the coming 3 to 5 years, because we just hit the inflection point of the world governments, especially the number one financial capital in the world, the US, basically building this positive bullish financial structure, empowering and encouraging the integration and implementation of Bitcoin strategies. And then therefore also with the Genius Act and Clarity Act, and now the market structure bill, the altcoin, the blockchain rails of global commerce, of transaction, of security, of how to especially authenticate what is real and what is not, with what we're seeing with the development of AI. This is a major thing. I think there's going to start to be technology like cameras and video and stuff that as something is produced, it is printed to the blockchain, so you know it was actually filmed, not something that was developed by AI. I don't know that this is something that I've been thinking about for a while, but then also we have the other areas like DeFi. We have these different narratives that are going to be having their mini cycles along the way, where this is pumping and then that sector's pumping and then this. But I do think that we're going to be seeing pretty large moves to the upside. The difference here is though, on the pullback that we see towards the end of this year, I think there's probably a pretty good chance we're going to see a really big altcoin pullback because of the fear of the 4-year cycle mass crash that we've seen in years past, only then see a rebound. So don't bet on selling absolutely everything and then getting back in at an 80% drop. you need to figure out which your long-term plays are. And hopefully it's weighted most heavily in Bitcoin, but Chainlink I see as a very good opportunity. Ondo I see as a very good opportunity. Even Avalanche with some of the partnerships that they have and what they're building. Solana as well. Ethereum, of course. Cardano, I'm still on the fence about. I know DZ loves it. I know a lot of people love it. I'm not hating on Cardano. I love what Charles Hoskinson is doing. I'd like to see some of the things that they've been talking about come to fruition and actually fully be delivered on, the smart contracts and some of the Bitcoin DeFi. I think there's a massive amount of upside potential for Cardano. One, because of the community, but two, because of the things they're building. But it's kind of getting to this point now with altcoins that it's a put up or shut up thing. People are tired of seeing the pivots. You know, even Multiverse X, thank you for the super chat, but they went from Eagle to then like trying to capitalize on this sort of AI and imaging, not imaging, sorry, the multiverse, you know, like capitalizing on that narrative from last cycle, which I really thought was silly. I think their token's great. I think their technology is great, but people are looking for legacy to be built. Right now, if you're trying to find a coin that has stability, that you think has a long-term potential, ask, does it have legacy from when it was developed to what they've delivered to what they've done over time? Has it been consistent? Has it also adapted in small ways to different trends, but not fully doing massive rebrands or changing entire focuses? Are they building legacy? Do they have good community? Do they have good tokenomics? Do they have a team that's trustable? Or is it something that is completely not doxed? These are the types of things I look at if I'm considering holding something long-term. Now, Mikhail, happy Monday. Great to see you with confidence. Happy Monday. Is it Monday? It's Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah. I don't know. That just threw me into a stroke there. But we got some other things to look at, so let's get into it. I did invest into a shitcoin in 2013, and I'm only down 50%. But this is ridiculous. It's called the US dollar. I was saving some money back then. And can you imagine this? This is the actual number one shitcoin there is, the US dollar. This is why we talk so heavily about the crypto ecosystem. So let's get into some other things. Why is the crypto market structure bill so important? Trump apparently is going to sign this. I guess it's been telegraphed that's happening. It's because of clarity. And this is why. Clears up confusion. It allocates and decides which different government agencies are overseeing different types of crypto. Because AVE is different than Aerodrome. Not that one better or worse or good or bad. They're just entirely different sectors. One is DEX, which does facilitate some DeFi. AVE is full DeFi, basically a crypto bank, right? And then you got something else like Render, which is entirely different from those other two, which is graphics processing, decentralized graphics processing. Then you have bittensor, which is similar to Render, but it's actually an AI development ecosystem. So there's different types of regulatory bodies that need to be taking focus on different chains. Not everything is at the SEC or everything is at the CFTC, so on and so forth. This brings clarity if they get this set up. It also helps businesses because now they can plan better and understand what the rules are. This is one of the reasons why there's been hesitation. It also will clear the path for more investment advisors and other aspects to understand where these things sit in the financial picture. And then, of course, it boosts trust. So this is going to be very good. I shared this earlier. You're welcome to read through it. It's on my wall. So make sure you're following me over here at Kelly Kellam, as you can see right there. But this is, I think, going to be a pretty big impact in the market. Maybe not in the immediate near term, but definitely into the midterm, long term. This is only going to smash those capital access gates open wider and wider. But just notice this. Can you believe this? What? NVIDIA, Microsoft, Apple alone, just those three companies are the same size as China's entire stock market. When I saw this, I was like, what is happening? I mean, $11.8 trillion, just under $11.8 trillion for these three tokens, as you see right here. If you look at this down here, the U.S. stock market is up to 62 trillion, over 62 trillion, and we have China at 11.87. So just a smidgen larger. Now you add Amazon into this list up here, then it fully eclipses China's stock market. It just blows me away. This is why when people are wondering why these regulatory decisions about what's happening with the Clarity Act, with the Genius Act, with the market structure bill for crypto, why the hell does it matter to the world stage? Because when you look at this and realize just on our stock market alone, the US is the bellwether for the global financial, basically, direction. So the fact that we're getting these things instituted and implemented and put into legislation is going to have a carryover effect into the rest of the world. Also giving them a framework to set up their own regulatory structures for Bitcoin, blockchain, AI, crypto, digital assets. We're at the cusp of absolute greatness right now. And then we got to talk about, okay, I'm going to run through this because I talk about Chainlink all the time, but Chainlink is up to $93 billion in total value secured. This is massive. $93 billion. And then we see why. Well, Sergey Nazarov on the talking at the stock market yesterday said that basically RWA tokenization of assets is one of the biggest capital trends looking forward. Assets will be tokenized across multiple chains. Some people think that maybe they should all be on one chain because what's going to happen with cross-referencing? That's all solved with Chainlink. So whether or not you think Chainlink is sexy, you want to get that one thing, like even Ondo. Ondo is going to have a huge number of different massive securities, stocks, US treasuries, all these things tokenized. And they've been hinting at some major things that they're about to announce. I think over 100 major 100 new tokenized assets, I think they're going to be announcing very soon. I'm just going to wink you there right there. But Link provides you basically exposure to all of that, whether it's Solana, Injective, Ondo, because this is essentially the link, the bridge to cross-reference and make sure all things are as they should be. So in addition to also being able to do RWAs on Chainlink. So it is, guys, I just don't think, even now I'm considering, because I've made some substantial profits on Aerodrome. I know it's going to go so much higher, but I want more Link. I want more Link because it's just getting better and better. I mean, look at these partners. Swift, Euroclear, MasterCard, Clearstream, Central Bank of Brazil, JP Morgan, this ICE, the parent of the stock market, UBS, Westpac. I don't want to read all these, but massive. JP Morgan, Franklin Templeton, I mean, massive groups. All of these major banking and capital markets announcements with different ways they're integrating with these. Chainlink, there's nothing like Chainlink in this market. Plus, they have more DeFi adoption of Chainlink. Well, that also means more Link in the Chainlink reserves. Also more TradFi adoption. Because remember, Chainlink isn't just in the crypto world. It also bridges the TradFi world into the tokenized world or into verifiable data. Better data than they've ever been able to have that is accurate. Oracle, that's what it's all about. So as Chainlink scales, and we just looked at all those different partners they have, the more it's utilized, the more Chainlink is going to go into the reserves, which essentially creates scarcity, right? So this is great. Excuse me. Bam. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. I'm just scrolling through some of y'all's comments. Algo says One House Productions. We'll look at Algo. You guys have been asking for Algo for a few days. We'll look at Algo for sure. But look at Near. Beautiful bottoming structure, kind of W formation, kind of, but this kind of fell here. But so kind of a triple bottom. But I mean, look at this. Fully rounding here. Fully rounding here. See how it's lower low, lower low, lower low, same low, higher low. The next step here is this is already broken out of this small downtrend. The next step is when this clears this level and this level. So let's look at Near real quick. Let's go to Near. Where is Near? There we go. So boom, 8 hour, boom. So this is that same structure. We can kind of delete all this because we don't need, you know what? I'm going to remove all drugs. There we go. So we're looking for the break of this zone right here, which is this high and this high. And then this sort of block. It's going to be more of a block up here because we have this high and these highs here. So we're looking for Near to clear back above basically 308. And then I think, I mean, it would be great if this just sliced through, but we're seeing right here, massive money flow, inflow, positive. This is on the 8-hour. We also have the RSI reset, broke out to the upside, bounced right in the 50 region, a little bit below 46, 47, but back up. If this can push into this 320s range, maybe consolidate for a second and then slice through this, find support above 360. That's when you're really getting into the bull, like essentially like doing something like this. Doing something like that. The next level up we'll be watching is right here. Why? Because this is where the next shelf is. Support, 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 and also a rejection here. And you see there's a lot, there's a lot of price action all the way through here. A lot of interaction of price at this level. So once this bounces, finds any sort of support or bull flags or some bullish structure above 360, then we're looking, the next target's gonna be up here just shy of $5. So we got some major things coming. Chainlink also, let's actually go down the list. We looked at Ethereum. It's looking beautiful, sitting here at 4,682. I mean, we have a little bit of bearish divergence here on the money flow. We're on the 8-hour too, on the RSI. What am I talking about? If you don't know what bearish divergence is, I'm looking at the strength here on the RSI relative strength index. And this is the Chaikin money flow. Is money going into the asset or coming out? So when you have price action moving up as it is right here, these highs, see how this high is higher? This is moving up, and the strength, it's not as strong. The money, there's not as much money. So the money is coming down. The strength is coming down while the price is going up. Now, this is exciting that we're near all-time high. And I'm not saying this bearish divergence says we're not going to hit that all-time high soon, but this does signal to me that there's some potential weakness that only, a new major publicly traded company that says we're doing an ETH reserve and we're buying 10 billion of ETH. That would kind of negate this, sure. But if you're just looking at the chart, because you cannot count on news stories, there's bearish divergence here, and it's showing that it may calm down for a second. It may need to build a little structure here, maybe a bull flag, maybe not. I'm just saying caution. I'm not saying it can't go up from here, but we're seeing some bearish divergence starting to build. Now, we're still very bullish on where alts are going. In the very immediate term, in the next 2 or 3 days, it might slow down for a second. That's okay. And if it continues up, hey, the market's just getting woken up. So maybe this gets completely ignored. Link. Also, look, massive new high. We got, this is pretty flat. So it's not technically bearish divergence. But the RSI could have gone higher, right? There is room to the upside. So the fact that the RSI is flat, could be considered a little bit of bearish divergence, but what do? We don't only look at price and RSI. We can also look at the money flow. Money flow from this same point, the money flow is higher. So this kind of negates the argument that's bearish divergence on Chainlink. So Chainlink is looking good for where it's at. The one thing I would comment on though, large bullish expansion, much smaller. Now this is a bull flag. See, I can just see it by the shape of it. This is a bull flag, but it's a tiny little baby, wee little bull flag. It actually so I wouldn't be surprised if we got a little bit of a reset back down into the 22s, potentially even down into the 20s. I mean, look, okay, on the smaller time frame, 4-hour, this is a bearish divergence. See this? Strength much weaker, money flow much weaker. See that? From this level to this level. So there's a little bit of a cooling right now, and that's okay. Ondo, I don't know when their announcement's going to come, but I know it's been telegraphed to me that they got some major announcements coming. So I would love for this to pull back because if it pulls back and there's a major announcement and then you get the boom, then you get better price action, right? But as it's sitting right now, let's go to the 1 hour. Let's actually go back to the 4-hour. Same thing we saw in Chainlink. This is a little bit higher. We got some bearish divergence on RSIs, bearish divergence on money flow. I think we're going to kind of see that across the board, but things are just, there's been some nice runs this week. So if there's a little bit of a pull off, a little bit of a pullback, that wouldn't be the end of the world. BNB also making some beautiful strides. Beautiful strides. If we come out here to the 3-day, see, it's basically been flat across here where these tops have been. Boom, 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 boom. But we've now recently broke to new all-time highs. And currently on the 3-day chart, the candle body is as high as it's ever been. Well, I mean, it's been there, but we're tapping right near all-time highs, which would be above about, let me see. If I put my mouse over this candle, remember, you can look at these numbers, OHLC. These are the open of the candle, the high of the candle, the low of the candle, and the close of the candle. So if I put my mouse over this, the high would be as high as that wick went right there. And that high is 861.10. So that's the all-time high for BNB. And we're on the cusp of pushing higher. And on the 3-day, things are getting stronger. What does it look like on the 4-hour? 4-hour, okay, much higher. What do we see? We see some bearish divergence on the money flow right here. And there's I mean, the RSI is about the same strength. So this is, it's just hesitating as it's coming into this zone right here of this previous high. Aerodrome. We talked about textbook breakout of this multi-month into last year, over a year trend line. This goes back to March of last year. Boom, right there. So if we look at this, we broke through it. Great. We got the beautiful retest back down, breakout, confirmation, launch. Now this is broken past this previous high here. The RSI did find support above 50. We're getting a little bit of bearish divergence so far. It's not confirmed yet. Which would be if this candle starts to break down, because this high is not really in yet until these candles basically decide their direction. This is pushed up. We've got a bit of a doji candle here, spinning top, suggesting bullish momentum, neutral. Bulls tried, bears tried, it ended neutral, right? So what do we see when we see momentum go in one direction? It's a bullish momentum. Then we get neutral momentum. If the bulls don't take over here, the bears are going to try to bring this back down and retest, whether it be down to $1.23, which would be testing this previous high right here, or wash back down into the 111s, 115s to retest this. If this doesn't hold, then I fear that we're going to be dropping back down to about $1. But that shouldn't bother you right now, because we're going into a very bullish portion of the market. Let's look for these opportunities if they do get pullbacks. Cardano also. Cardano waking up a little bit. Double click here, double click on the chart to minimize the indicators. Remember that if you have indicators on your chart, you can just double click on your chart. It'll minimize them. Double click again to bring them back. So let's look at this. We had the falling channel broke out, retested. That really scared people because it also was a double bottom, kind of fake out here, but then launch. But we're having trouble. We talked about this the last couple of days. We're having trouble getting through this bar right here, which is where this rejected, where this bounced, the chop zone right in here, where this bounced, this rejected. And we're sitting right now, haven't even quite really gotten the courage to push all the way up into this 90-cent range. So what does the signals look like? Well, let's go to the 4-hour. Well, price action is pushing up. You can see it trending up. We have a trend line there. Where is that trend line? Right there. And look at where we're having trouble. Boom. So not only do we have trouble getting up to that, we have an overhead resistance, diagonal trend line. And as price action is pushing up, see this? There's less money involved. There's less confidence. Now, what's the strength look like? The strength is looking baby, but there, bearish divergence. See this? Let me draw that a little better. So you see what I mean? So there's a little baby strength bearish divergence and divergence on money agreeing with upside. So it wouldn't surprise me. We do have an inverted head and shoulders here. It wouldn't surprise me. Where do we look for a target if it does drop? And does the drop mean it's over? Well, first off, we have a neckline there. So what do we see? Textbook things we like to see. Breakout, retest, launch, right? So if that's the case, will this come back and retest somewhere in this region? And it's going to be a little bit different of maybe coming all the way back down to this. It doesn't need to, because you have this zone right in here where there's been a lot of price action. See the rejection, chop, rejection. This would also facilitate a retest before moving higher. If this pulls back into 83 cents, low 84s, 83 cents. Now, if it comes all the way back down to there, it's not the end of the world. It just gets a little more scary if this comes down like this and pushes up into this, breaking this to the downside. and then breaking the move coming back. That would be a little bit worrisome, but we're seeing more confidence and bullish movement right now. So I'd be more apt to think that if this did break down, I'd be watching for reversal signals of this being a bear trap to basically reverse on you like that. Solana, we got to look at Solana because it reclaimed $200 for a short period of time. Looked like only in 1 4-hour candle. We did the other day as well. That was back in July. We're getting back up into that region. Same thing we saw on Cardano. Look, shoulder, head, shoulder. We have the neckline right here. So if this does want to come back down, we have 2 areas we need to watch for. It kind of already bounced on one, which is this previous range high. See? So if this doesn't bull flag here and this is lost, then what we're looking for is a price action to come back down and test somewhere in this region, in the 180s, the mid to low 180s. That's what I'd be looking for Solana. And that would be perfectly healthy because we have this angled inverted head and shoulders. But look, money flow is agreeing, strength is agreeing. So this may just bull flag here, and then we can measure that target to the upside. Remember, we still have this overhead region we've been talking about since when we were below 177. I talked about breaking. It was way over here when it was the 177 zone. See? I talked about this breaking and it didn't. We're still watching this line. I said, once we break this and confirm the move, our next target up is going to be this 215 to 225 region. We've had this circled for months. And then the fun begins for us to tackle 255 and then go beyond. But guys, I love you. I appreciate you. I got to run for now. I always love doing these streams with you guys. Consider joining, become a member on the YouTube here. Join if you're not, even if you're watching, I'd still I think about 55 to 60% of you that watch daily are not subscribed. I don't know what I can do to get subscribed. Show some love, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up, follow if you're on Rumble as well. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in on Rumble. Shout out if you're watching on X. We've got about 1,529 people watching right now between Rumble, X, and YouTube. But get over on YouTube over here and follow, subscribe and join, become a member, and you get access to some of the stuff that we're doing in the Discord. You can, I'm doing those member streams, my member streams. I'm sharing those to you guys here. You can participate live. So stay tuned for that. And if you are a member, make sure your notifications are on. If you're not a member, make sure these notifications are on. Turn the bell on because I'll post things sometimes like this was a member stream, but I posted it public. I usually delete them after 5 minutes. But if you see that with the notification on, you can get into those member streams before I turn it to private. So big love to each and every one of you. Algo. I said I'll do algo. You know what? You called me out one house. I said I'd do it. So we got to do injective too. Shit. We got so much to do. Injective and algo. Okay. So injective, I want to do right now because injective just had some big news. Where's it at? Right here. The largest injective accelerator in cooperation with Cointelegraph is live. So that's big, and much like Ondo, different way they're doing it, but Injective is also tokenizing different assets like major stocks and stuff, and they're using some AI, all kind of different stuff with Injective. I'm very bullish on what Injective is going to do, but look at where it's at. Injective price currently is being held right below all of these levels right here. This structure looks very similar to this structure. See the big sell-off into a rising pattern. We got injective, big sell-off to a rising pattern. If we can clear through this, I'm watching into the 18 to $20 range is going to be a key zone because we have all of this chop above. Man, I got the hiccups. If we can clear that, then it's going to be looking good. It looks a little weak right now on the daily. The RSI is back into strength. It's above the 50 line. But what does it look like on the 4-hour? Money flows coming in. RSI bounced back above 50. This is looking like it wants to take a swing. It really does. But on the smaller, getting into the 1 hour, we're seeing a little bit of weakness come in at this level, which isn't the end of the world. We'd like to see a bull flag, something like this structure right here. Something like this structure right here that then breaks out. We need just a little bit of time. Right now, all you need is patience and to look for levels to the downside to drop. If this does drop, that level to the downside we're looking at is about 14.8. right there. Where these tops, this top went a little higher, this chopped around it. This is where I'd be looking for an opportunity. What does that look like on a fib? Let's see. Drag it to the upside. Look at that. That's right in the sort of 382 range. I don't really think we're going to come all the way back down here to 14.3 until we get unless we get a bigger spill in the broader market. But I'd like to see this form a bull flag and then continue to the upside. If that were the case, that would look like a target that would go up to about, let's see, right into the $17 range. That would take us beyond this high. So good looking out there. And then algo. I said I'll do algo, so let's do algo. I just forgot. My bad. My bad. Hit the like button. Show some love. We got a super chat, though. Yeah, that was from GD. I just want to make sure I called that out. And I will do some coverage on Plume tomorrow as well, by the way. So algo, you go. Shit. Algo, you. Where is algo? I already have a chart here somewhere. Here we go. Haven't charted this in a minute. Okay, double click here, pull this up here so we can see some stuff. What do we got? We drew a fib from the top to the bottom here. All right. And look at this. Look at kind of where we're at right now. Hold on. Let me do a fib from here, 0. There we go. So here we go. So this retraced down to the 618. Came back up, rejected at the 382. Came down, and look, now it's been traveling around the 786 with no real authority. But then, boom, came up to tackle the golden pocket, which is a 618 and 65. And it sliced through it, came back down. It's looking like it's struggling a little bit. But a lot of things do when you're looking at on the 3 days. So let's get into the 4 hour and see what we got going on. So conviction. Is there conviction in, okay, the RSI is not giving conviction. The money flow is chopping. It just feels like Algorand's a little bit out of the narrative right now. However, what do we see? What do you see in price action? I see inverted head and shoulders right here. Here's a shoulder, here's a head, here's a shoulder. So if that's the case, measure from the neckline, which is this area that the price keeps revisiting, to the deepest part of the head, which is right there. And you take this and you just go like that. You put a happy little target, happy little bush, and that target's up to about 34.39. But I would just caution you at the moment because it's looking a little weak. That doesn't mean it's going to break down necessarily. It feels like it's kind of in a waiting game right now for a jolt in the market. Like if Ethereum breaks, 4,800 and goes into like 5,200, I think this is going to break up just like the majority of the rest of the alt market. If Ethereum starts to pull down a little bit and resets down at 4,500, 4,400, then this will likely also pull down as well, unless there's its own narrative, bullish impetus that pops it. But yeah, shout out Coins Chick. I just saw you in here. My bad. Big love to you, Peter John Lurum. We got the whole crew in here. Brian Wild, Jay Hines. We got anybody commenting from X. I don't know why people on X do not get active in live chats, but I can see you there. We did Ondo earlier, brother. You can go in there, go back and watch that. Plume does look good, especially because they just got added to, they got identified as the RWA asset of choice for the World Liberty Financial. So, yeah. So guys, I love you. I appreciate you. I'll see you all in the next one. Hit the like button on the way out. Show some love if you want to keep this type of crypto content free that we're doing, and show some love. Let YouTube and X and Rumble know that you like this kind of content. It doesn't just help me. It helps the entire crypto ecosystem, that those major media hubs see the activity and engagement, not just watch time, but also when you engage with streams, it does amazing things on the back end to let these media providers know that they need to make sure to keep these things on. So big love to you all. I love you. That's all I got. Adios, muchachos. Thank you again to our channel partners, Bitcoin IRA and Arculus. The links are down in the description. Join us in the Discord. It's pinned in the top of the live chat, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.